anyone tells you that Ghana is not important in the global stage, they do not know what is happening currently. A lot has gone on in Ghana, and it's very easy to get it all twisted and think, oh, what's happening in the country? Is it losing its global appeal? Well, the answer is no, because the Vice President of the United States of America, Her Excellency Kamala Harris, is in Ghana as part of her African tour. I don't know if you know how big that is. On top of that, American movie director Spike Lee is in Ghana, and also actress who's also an award-winning thespian, Cheryl Lee Ralph, is in Ghana. Guys, Ghana is slowly reclaiming its place after a tough year that it had last year. If you want to hear more, stick around. Guys, how are you? Welcome to another episode of the vlog. My name is Andiro Ganga. I'm super excited to have you guys here. I enjoy having these chats with you. We are slowly getting back to our groove and getting back the rhythm, and I couldn't be more happier to be here to chat with you. We are at 15,000 subscribers. Can you believe it? In under 2 years, we've been able to build such a huge community. And I'm just hoping that we can keep growing. So do me a favor, hit the subscribe button if you're new here. And if you're a returning subscriber, hit the like button so that the algorithm can recommend this video to a lot more people. So let's get into it. Ghana is slowly getting back to its international pedestal. And this is such a good thing and a heartwarming thing to see. Why do I say this? Let me put it into context a little bit. I'm a business journalist. We'll take it there. So last year was a really tough year for Ghana, and not just Ghana, but the world in general. Economies are still reeling from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. When the pandemic started, nobody knew how dire it was going to be or how long the effects were going to last. But several years later, here we are. We still don't know what hit us and the magnitude, and we continue to suffer from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic in different ways. Lives were lost and livelihoods were massively affected. And when we thought we were about to wrap our heads around what was happening in the pandemic, guess what happened? Russia invaded Ukraine. Now, this was a game changer, particularly for developing economies. Ghana, for example, like many African countries, 30% of our wheat comes from Russia and Ukraine. 30% of our grain, including maize and beans, comes from the two countries. We get fertilizer from there. And Russia is such a key global player in global supply and manufacturing and production. And so is Ukraine. And so when these countries are fighting, it just slows down production, it slows down supply, and guess who suffers the most? African countries. And so due to the food shortage and the breakdown in the production cycles because of cost of fertilizer, we saw food prices, not just in Ghana, but the whole continent, skyrocket. And it's been a challenge, to be honest with you. Outside of that, we saw inflation rise to 50%, debt to GDP hit 80%, 50% of the revenue that we were collecting domestically was going into service debt. And that's how you know you're at a bad place. Imagine your salary. When you're paid your money, half of it goes to pay the people that you owe money. So you're left with half of your money to plan. That makes it really, really, really hard. And so Ghana has gone through some what's the English word? Okay, English is not my first language. It's gone through like a rough patch, right? And it's just important to acknowledge this fact so that you can truly appreciate why what is happening right now is something to be celebrated. Also, it's important to know that when Ghana went to elections, though they were largely peaceful, there are people that were not happy, certain political camps, and the results were contested or the validity of the results were in question. And so to see Ghana rise up above that and keep building the country and moving forward is very commendable. And this is not me saying this. This is the rest of the world seeing this and beginning to pay attention again to Ghana and realizing that last year was a rough patch for everybody. So the American Vice President is in the country, and it's such an important trip, particularly by the fact that they chose Ghana. It just goes again to reiterate the fact that Ghana is almost the West African gateway or the West African hub, and that's not to minimize the impact and the importance of Nigeria, but if you just look at how Ghana is, the people, democracy, the environment, the resources, then it's coming up really well. And you know, her visit is very significant because during her speech, there's certain things that she touched on that are positive signs towards Ghana. For example, Ghana will be benefiting from $100 million funding from the USA, and this is in partnership with other countries in the West African region to just go into development. They also understand the impact of the current wars that are going on in different West African countries, but appreciate the fact that Ghana has remained largely peaceful. But that's not to mean that the regional disruption does not affect production, supply, and growth in Ghana. So that's like a really good thing, particularly now when the government could use all the resources that it could get towards reviving back the economy. So that's like a really good thing. The other good thing that I heard in her speech was the fact that she acknowledged that they understand that the country is trying to turn around its economic fortune. This does not just mean that they acknowledge that Ghana went through a rough patch, but they also realize that the country is doing everything that it can to turn around. And very more often, politicians can be very quickly to jump on this and take the credit. But if you're a Ghanaian and you're watching this, I want you to be very proud of yourself, because you're the people that have held this economy. You kept going to work, you kept hustling, and that's how you sustain economies, by putting in continuous effort. Because if people stop and shut down, that's it. So to see her compliment those efforts that have been put in, and also for her to just say that they appreciate and recognize that Ghana is trying to acquire facilities, financial facilities from international bodies such as the IMF. I'll tell you why this is significant. The IMF has been very adamant in its negotiations with Ghana. Well, Ghana went to the IMF last year, they yet to get their money, while other countries like Kenya that went and were not in as dire condition as Ghana have already gotten their money. So for Vice President Kamala Harris to touch on that, it just means that probably, if need be, other players will stand in the gap for Ghana and maybe put in a good word. But also it just means that if we're just speculating, it means that things will get better in terms of Ghana will be able to find financial assurances to give to the IMF so they can be able to get money. Let's not downplay the impact and the importance of USA in some of these things. If America says your economy is doing well and is recovering, boom, America has said that. I think the other thing that also stood out for me was the fact that she spoke about the place of women in leadership and the value of just integrating women and building them up economically and empowering them. And that goes a long way, because not just Ghana, but Africa, with the exception of Rwanda, we still have a really long way to go in terms of gender equality, gender equity, and just allocating resources to women and ensuring that we create systems that can enable them to rise up and be self-sustaining individuals. So that was a very good thing. Lastly, I want to touch on a very controversial topic, which was the LGBTQ. And when she brought it up in a very respectful manner. It wasn't the usual American way where this is what we're telling you, this is right, you gotta do it. It was brought up in a conversational manner, and also the way the president handled it was very lawyer and politician-like of him. You know, he said, we have due processes and procedures, we have parliament that is going to look into that, and he trusts that the outcome that will come out of parliament is going to be a good outcome, not just for Ghanaian, respecting the culture here, but also accommodative enough for international voices, because you cannot downplay the importance of America and Europe in the growth and development of Africa. Half of our budgets, most of the things, dire services, education, health, infrastructure, the money comes from them. So you cannot bite the hand that feeds you. I think other important people that are in Ghana is Spike Lee, American movie director. I mean, it can't get any better than that. We should do a video discussing how Ghana was able to PR its way into Hollywood and Black Americans. Well, obviously, the Year of Return played a big role, but that was like other Black Americans. But have you realized the influx of Hollywood stars in Ghana? What is cooking? Maybe he's here for just a vacation and to reconnect to the motherland. And maybe it's an opportunity for creatives and just Ghana as a creative place to have it shot at Hollywood. Do not forget that Snowfall shot some part of the series here, and that's like a big thing. Not only does it sell Ghana as a destination, it's the culture, it's the people. You also know Girl Trip is going to be shot here, so there's just a lot going on. And credit also to Ivy Prosper, because she's done like a really good job on social media, just pushing the Beyond the Return campaign, because after 2019, what was going to happen? But activity is still going on. The last person who's here, at least that I know of, is Cheryl. And Cheryl is an award-winning actress. I mean, last year heading to this year has been her year. She's shining on Abbott Elementary, receiving awards left, right, and center, rightfully earned. And she wore a Ghanaian designer. She wore pasties, and Denta has also won pasties to the Grammy. So that just tells you that Ghana fashion is making its way again to Hollywood, and it was Kente that they wore. So that's like a really good thing. Cheryl is around. She took a picture with Lydia Foson. They've had a phone call. Who knows? Both of them are great actresses. The notes that they could exchange. Fingers crossed for Miss Foson, for a lady of her talent. It's high time she makes her way into Hollywood, and I know that from some of these interactions, it could open up the Ghanaian art industry to big producers, casting directors, and maybe, just maybe, we might begin to see ourselves exporting talent there. You know, it's been such a good ride for South Africans, from Paul Tusi to Tusom Bedu on Woman King to what's her name, Nomza Mombata on Coming to America. Paul Tusi was on Quantico. So South Africans have had their good run on Hollywood. Kenya, we have Lupita, we have Eddie Gathegi, and I think that it's beginning to look up for Ghana. David Donto was on Snowfall, guys. That's really big, and we're hoping that we can start sending people like Miss Forsen over there to fly the Ghanaian flag high. By the way, guys, do you know that I can sing the Ghanaian national anthem? Yep. Yes, I can sing the Ghanaian national anthem. When I was doing this, flying the flag, it began ringing in my head. Well, if you want to hear me sing it, you have to incentivize me with something. Anyway, guys, that's all we had for you today on the vlog. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think, if you think Ghana is beginning to reclaim again its place, not just as an African leader, but a continental leader. Please remember to subscribe. Let's hit 20K. Like this video and share it with a friend. Bye, guys.